Maybe you have to go for a young Bond, something like Tom Holland type of thing.
Oh God, no.
Maybe Daniel Craig will do a sixth one. Just reboot with Daniel Craig.
I don't know. I don't know if basically the franchise gets anything from that decision. It already has a main character who just is drunk constantly and drunkenly shoots guns around.
Would it be kind of interesting to go more into what now? Where the hell is this franchise gonna go now? Well, nobody knows.
Well, the same direction as before. There's gonna be some type of a minor tonal change with James Bond.
Yep.
Most likely it's gonna stick to the more realistic aspect, but there may be a younger inner Bond. But I do know already that there's gonna be a huge media ruckus when the casting starts. It's gonna last like 2 years when they try to choose who's the next Bond. Then there's the huge media ruckus after they have managed to make the casting decision. And then there's all the headlines about the weight that the new actor is feeling and how the franchise now has to see if it can make the change into the new guy and all this. And eventually it doesn't really mount to that much anything. Yeah, Bond is gonna stay pretty conservative character. He's not gonna turn gay. He's not gonna turn extra flamboyant. He might turn black with Idris Elba.
I don't think so. He might turn black, but Idris Elba is starting to be like 40 now.
Yeah. I don't think he's even gonna turn black.
I think what would be cool would be to have a much younger Bond, maybe in his 20s even, to try something different, like a young Bond adventure that could be like a period piece to go back to the 50s, 60s of the original stories.
That would be like too extreme for this franchise.
And black.
It can be a younger Bond, but then he's gonna wear a black suit and drink martinis and be all conservative business.
Or it's gonna be like Shanna Lynch in a period piece as Bond, James Bond. Yeah, what was that Christian symbolism in the film?
What do you mean? What was Christian symbolism?
What are you referring to?
You really wanna go down this road?
You're the religion expert of the podcast.
So, Karri. I really thought that you had picked this one up because it's really in your face.
Yeah, maybe it is. Tell me.
The podcast name is Lucifer Safin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you play a little phonetical game, and Lucifer, it immediately turns into Lucifer. And after that, you have to ask question, is there something behind the surname Safin? And Rami Malek, as an actor, his parents are Egyptian immigrants. So you take the shortest road, and in Turkish, there is the word Saf, which means pure. So together with a phonetical game, you get like Lucifer pure. And then you take into account that in James Bond franchises, the self-introductions always go like Bond, James Bond. So you turn it around, it becomes pure Lucifer. And from there after that you notice the scarring that he has on his face, which gives him kind of a reptilian like skin.
Wow.
Thanks to the facial scarring. So you have the serpent that was present in the Garden of Eden. And Lucifer Safin has as the film makes a repeated notion, he has a poison garden. And then you take into notice the DNA hacks, which are never established exactly how large they were, but it's made a notion that there has been a number of attacks on different DNA databases, and they have collected like all the DNA data. Bond makes the notion that there's like thousands of DNA capsules in Safin's island garden lab base, from which you can kind of get that there's enough DNA data to basically target entire humanity. This is something that the professor also kind of helps to reinforce when he makes the notion that, for example, entire black race can be erased with the virus. So now it becomes a question of basically the fate of mankind and humanity. And when pushed on his agenda why humanity, Safin is just like, people don't like free will, which was also in accordance of Satan. Satan was originally for free will, and that was like the major thing in Eden. And then Safin even refers to himself as a new god. This is even in the trailer. So when Bond is like, history is not kind for men who thinks they are God. And now it's like Bond fights against Lucifer in a garden of evil because it's poison garden. Then there's also like the ending, the missile attack, which is when it's shown to you, you get the shot from behind the Bond when heaven is raining fire, and then there's that long shot which shows you the gun, missile boat, and all that jazz. So, and that's also very like similar to some of the Christian paintings when God is showing his fury, like for example, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. And then there is also, like, returning back to the whole Garden of Eden, the film establishes an apple as a visual metaphor. Before they get to the island, there's that breakfast scene, and it pays special notice that make notion that Bond is peeling an apple, and the apple peel forms kind of a string, like films like to do DNA string. So it's like it's a lot. I said, the film is more interested in toying around with this Christian symbolism as it's interested in doing anything female empowerment with its female characters in post-Me Too James Bond film.
Okay, wow.
God.
So you just kind of went to the cinema. Yeah, okay, this is all about Christianity and symbolism.
No, I just went to the cinema. It was like literally on my face. I couldn't fucking escape it. Like they say Lucifer so many times that like God, you like immediately pick up like.
Yeah, that's kind of the Slavic way of pronunciation, Lucifer. And that Garden of Eden thing, or that garden, that was borrowed from, I think, You Only Live Twice, from the novels where Blofeld has some kind of a weird garden of poisonous plants. And they threw a lot of Dr. No shit into the movie as well. But Safin wasn't Dr. No, thank God.
Yeah.
It would have been super awkward, like in Spectre, that Blofeld had explained it. Well, I'm not Franz Oberhauser anymore. Now I'm Ernst Stavro Blofeld.
Yeah. Oh God, that
was so cringe.
Guys. I saw somebody comment on Facebook that the relationship Bond had with Blofeld reminded them of Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. Yeah, that was immediately my first thought when I saw that original trailer, where it's once again like you have the psychopathic bad guy behind the logs in some mental institution, and the good guy is making an interview. I was like, yeah, you are doing Silence of the Lambs.
I just felt the film was like, Bond was far too human. He was too emotional for me. I think they really screwed around with the original character. I mean, you'd never see Sean Connery's Bond acting this way. I don't know.
Yeah. I never really felt like Sean Connery's that he was doing kind of anything in particular with the character. He was just a suave, sexy, panther-like person that he seems to be. And character-wise, what did Sean Connery bring to James Bond? Just that, what he is. Kind of like Roger Moore. He brought his kind of jokey self, took some levity and humor and tenderness and charm into the character. Brought himself, but didn't take the character ever seriously. He just played it as a joke most of the time, with a few exceptions, like in The Man with the Golden Gun, when he's eating with Scaramanga, or pushing the car off the cliff in For Your Eyes Only, or shouting at the Russian general in Octopussy.
Dangerous Dalton is still my favorite Bond. Still, even after this film I've just seen.
Yeah, some say that he's too like some kind of person who has had the classical theater training, and that would be some kind of a hindrance to the enjoyment, and I don't see that at all.
No.
Whereas Pierce Brosnan is just copying Roger Moore and Sean Connery, and I feel that he's not really bringing he's not bringing anything to the character, in my opinion. He brings the vulnerability, he brings the suave and sexy side of Sean Connery, he brings Roger Moore's jokey side, but what is the Pierce Brosnan's James Bond? I just feel that it's the most boring adaptation of
it's very serious
of the character.
Bond.
Brosnan?
Yeah. Like Brosnan as Bond is serious. The dialogue that they give to him is nothing but one-liners.
Well, Brosnan should have, he got a shitty deal. He should have had better scripts to work with.
Yeah. I mean, I still absolutely love GoldenEye.
Hell yeah.
And it goes to total shit after that one. Like almost immediately.
Yeah. That's a very polarizing film, Tomorrow Never Dies, by the way. Many of the fans say that it's one of the best and the most, topical films that you can have in the entire franchise, and smart and blah blah blah. I just think it's a complete waste of time.
I don't hate it that much, but I wouldn't say it's that topical nor that smart. Like it's like I mentioned, it's like basically it's just Bond against CNN.
Yeah, trope machine Bond film.
Yeah.
I kind of disagree with the way Lisa portrayed the women in the earlier James Bond films. Like I can think of many, many women who didn't take secondary roles. Pussy Galore, for instance, comes to mind.
Yeah, but even then, even the Pussy Galore, or what's the lady, Anya Amasova in The Spy Who Loved Me.
You've seen it on the top?
They are portrayed as strong women, but then in the end they kind of give that up, or even it's kind of just played for laughs. This Diamonds Are Forever, where you have Tiffany Case, who starts off as a very intelligent and funny character, kind of quick and kind of Bond's equal in some way. Kind of they're kind of having this kind of a partnership going on, and then in the end she's just a bimbo who can't do anything.
What about the girl from Moonraker? What's her name?
Harley Goodhead.
Yeah, she's a independent woman.
I'll give you that. I also give you my comment on the end that their relationship at the end is completely unnatural, and they have zero chemistry on screen.
I was sat next to a couple in the cinema who wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Oh shit!
Talking.
I was on the third showing, or my third go with No Time to Die, and there were some assholes who were just talking throughout, and then I gave a loud shh.
Really?
And then they silenced it a little bit. I put it down a little bit, but I could still hear it, and it was really distracting. Really wanted to leave the cinema at that point or do something.
The couple I was sat next to, the wife had to give like a constant running commentary to the husband to explain it because it was so dumb.
Yeah. This really was a bad cinema experience, to the point that I'm starting to question whether I should be in the cinema at all.
The good thing is that the concern I had prior to watching the film that the film would be too woke, and I didn't feel that at all.
I was honestly a little bit scared about that. Like, would they fuck it up? They kept it equal and brought gay aspects and all that, but it didn't feel like we must do this shit here.
Correct. It was good. It was like as you said, kept it equal and made progress, but it wasn't in your face kind of thing.
Yeah, I was really uncomfortable talking about the whole tampon gate and how I thought about it before seeing the film, but well, it turned out to be perfect anyway.
No, but yeah.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't even have brought it up if I had been in your shoes.
Yeah, but Valdo, seriously, man, reminds me of Boris from GoldenEye. I can't believe nobody else thought of that connection.
I still don't see it.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
What do you think, Karri?
About what?
Boris, Valdo.
Does Boris look like Valdo?
No. I don't see any connection, to be honest. But they're both nerds, I give you that much.
No, but they're both rogue nerds.
True. I am invincible.
They're both Russian. They're both rogue. They're both traitors.
They both open very large doors.
Slughead.
No way I'll spite them.
So we will have to do the same thing in a few years when the next one comes out.
Probably gonna take a while for them to get off their holidays. I'm supposing producers are gonna take a long break again. And they have to look for the next actor and theme and writers and director and...
It's just a question when Barbara Broccoli needs mansion money next time.
I think Idris Elba is a really good choice.
I think that was a good choice 15 years ago. Now, not so much.
Really?
Yeah, too old.
Why?
Too old. Let's not pick these 40-something actors anymore to act Bond. And besides, if there was a problem with the youth audience in the States for No Time to Die, then maybe you have to go for a young Bond. Something like Tom Holland type of thing.
Oh, God, no. No, hell no.
But not with Tom Holland.
Absolutely no.
That guy is already too expensive anyway for them to go for any deal for 5 movies.
Most likely it's gonna be in the Uncharted movie if it ever gets... If the shoot ever finishes.
What did you think about the gun barrel? Henrik is our gun barrel expert.
Well, I don't know. I don't object to it.
Yeah, I think they didn't make any particularly good gun barrels for Daniel Craig at all. Well, Casino Royale was kind of cool. I was okay that they didn't use blood. I was okay that the whole thing reflected the light of the Norway landscape. Kind of nice. But I really fucking hate the way that they are kind of connecting the Universal logos and the company logos with everything nowadays in the beginning of the films. You just have to use the gun barrel in that as well. It's pointless.
Yeah, none of that actually troubles me. I mostly don't even pay any attention to it.
Yeah, I prefer Quantum of Solace over Skyfall nowadays, definitely.
Really?
Yeah, I feel that Skyfall is just this Sam Mendes trip where we take influences from the Batman films and then try to make it in a Bond film. And I don't think it's very much a Bond film. Takes influences from everywhere else, and the whole mechanics of the bad guys, what he's trying to do and how he does it doesn't make any fucking sense. Everything's timed perfectly. He's able to pull off all these tricks, try to get to the hearing to kill M. It's just bullshit.
Yeah. Silva's plan borrows quite heavily from the Joker in the Dark Knight.
And then I didn't like how much they involved M in the story, and they have a lot of scenes where they try to build more emotional connection in Bond's house in the middle of nowhere in Scotland with M, and I think that comes off as ham-fisted, and the movie comes into a standstill. It just becomes really boring in Scotland.
I, on the other hand, really liked all that stuff. Everything else except Silva's Joker-esque ability to basically timetable and plan every single minute detail didn't bother me that much. I could just go with the film. The moment when his escape plan also includes the way how the subway system in Britain will work and how one subway train almost hits Bond. That was taking too far.
Yeah, always hated that part.
But outside of that, I could just ignore the I have this master plan that calculates absolutely everything aspect of Silva.
I also felt that the pre-title sequence kind of is a bit too masturbatory and repeats a lot of super basic tropes from action films. Let's drive over that vegetable stand and bananas flying, apples flying. Ha.
I actually had more problems with the opening sequence of No Time to Die.
Which part?
The part when Bond is surrounded and in his car and refuses to do anything with his fat ass.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's called lying, you dumb fuck. You're a spy. It's you should know what lying is. How the fuck do you believe Spectre after everything that happened in Spectre? They almost blew up Madeline, and now you believe that she was in cahoots with Blofeld and it was all part of master plan because some Cyclop asshole from Spectre told you so. How can you be so fucking stupid? Just do something.
Do you guys think they milked the Spectre storyline to absolute death?
They absolutely fucking did.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a... You can tell that all of these films have not been pre-planned in any way around Casino Royale. You have one organization that is led by Le Chiffre. Then we have Quantum of Solace, and we get to know, this is all part of this quantum organization. And then in Skyfall, we kind of forget the whole fucking thing. And then comes Spectre, and it desperately wants to connect all of this, that quantum is just kind of some subordinate, some sub-part of Spectre. It was Spectre all along, and Silva was also part of Spectre. I could see that in the way that Silva has like this ability to control and topple governments and do shit with computer that easily and have resources around the world.
But that was also Quantum. Like the whole gig was that they can control information and like mostly just resources, like that they have shit ton of money and they are willing to bankroll like war criminals and tyrants.
And then comes Spectre and it tries to tie them, but that's supposed to be the ultimate villain, the Blofeld. But you just shoot the guy down from the helicopter, arrest him, and that should be kind of it. Okay, well, that's it then. But no, we have to up the ante once more. And forget Spectre, fuck that shit. Let's go with this Lucifer Safin, who's just gonna kill the entire organization in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, I was really disappointed by that.
Yeah, it's a bit that was a bit lazy.
Yeah. And it was also like unnecessary in the end.
Yeah.
Like now Lucifer goes, like I mentioned in the recording, Lucifer goes through this shift. He starts the film as a one asshole who really wants to take revenge on Spectre, and then he does that in two scenes. He kills the entire organization in one and then finally caps off Blofeld, who is the one surviving member of Spectre.
Mm-hmm.
And then the film is like, oh shit, what are we gonna do now? And all of a sudden Lucifer is like, yeah, I also wanna kill the entire mankind.
Yeah, for no reason.
Yeah, I'm God.
Did they even explain what's the relationship between Safin and Blofeld? I don't think they did. Like, they didn't just say if he's like a previous operative of Spectre, or who the hell is this guy?
Spectre killed Safin's parents, the entire family, when Safin was like a fucking kid, because Spectre wanted to steal. Safin's parents controlled the Poison Island, and Spectre wanted it, so they like poisoned the entire family, and then never checked back on whether or not all of them died, or if like a little kid survived, and also never went on and claimed the Poison Island, which was the reason why they poisoned Safin's entire family. Spectre is like that as an organization. And this is the goddamn organization that takes killing people so seriously that they even kill their own lieutenants just because.
Yep.
So yeah, it was like the whole Spectre aspect of the plot is kind of it heavily shows, or Safin in totality, he really shows the script's incapability of kind of finding a coherent direction from step one. It strongly showcases that it tries to kind of forcibly mix together two different plot lines.
Yeah, I agree on that part. There aren't many really good Bond films anyway. Like if you want to look at from a proper filmmaking perspective, some kind of a film that everybody would love just because it's just a fucking good film, whether you're a fan or not. Casino Royale. Uh, what else? Barely even Goldfinger. I don't think that's such of a good film.
Yeah, there's well, all Bond films have their share of problems, especially plot-wise. There's always some holes and illogicalities. Basically, all films are shots. Like every single time, you have to kind of be forgiving towards the film, and Bond is no exception. To truly enjoy the James Bond films, you have to forgive them like X number of things in the plot department. And usually I don't have a problem with that. It becomes problem when the film kinda just keeps on insisting that I pay notice to some aspect and then that aspect fails to work logically. Like for example in No Time to Die's case, you have Safin comes from a family of master poisoners. But then his major plan, like Heracles, it's not a poison, it's some type of a virus that uses nanobots. And the film keeps refreshing and bringing up the nanobot aspect, which technically makes it just something like a spin-off from the Smart Blood, which also operated with nanobots. And the film just don't let you forget the nanobots. And then in the final moment when Bond gets contaminated with Heracles, you kinda is like you just immediately go like use the EMP watch. That has also been brought up now 2 or 3 times.
I
Like
didn't.
EMP shuts down nanobots, or at least it should. Or at least, go back to Q headquarters. There's more EMP shit.
Right?
And no, I must die here on the island. I'm like, oh my fucking god.
Yeah, that was a bit fucked. I just accepted it in my mind after all of those bullet shots and the fact that he's somewhere in the middle of the island apparently. But it was flawed.
Yeah, there was bunch of stuff that I did give this film, but there were so like for example, I was kind of forgiving, or I didn't take an issue really with the fact that Bond breaks up with Madeline at the beginning of the film, because that was supposed to be in the emotional core of the movie. Even though, like mentioned, if you look the situation logistically, it makes no goddamn sense. Blofeld tries to kill Madeline in Spectre repeatedly and almost blows her up at the end of the film. And now Bond is certain that that was all just part of Blofeld's master plan because some Spectre asshole tells him that Madeline is a daughter of Spectre, and Bond doesn't even like have the common courtesy to drive off with her into some location, some warehouse, and just torture the poor lady until he would get confirmation, is Madeline a traitor? No, it's just like I immediately believe what Spectre tells me and dump you on this train station. Stupid as all hell moment, but I forgave it because that feeling of being betrayed is in the emotional core of the film.
I took it that
Okay.
you could kind of take it in several ways, at least in the confusion of his mind, that, or the fact that he would feel too vulnerable, too at risk if he would keep Madeline around. That he was just done with this shit. I don't know what's up with you and if you're in cahoots with Spectre still, or if you were. But I'm just gonna stop it here, and let's end this.
Yeah, but there are like these moments that you can forgive,
Yeah.
or like also you can for this film you can forgive that the entire intelligence of Britain and also Spectre leaks like a rotten pocket. Like since now these films are in shared universe, it also means that all the organizations coexist, which would then mean that you have Quantum Group, which is a super large mega group that nobody has ever heard of. Then you have Spectre, which is super large mega group that nobody has ever heard of. Then you have Safin, who runs a small army and has a giant-ass poison garden on an own private island that Spectre already tried to reclaim and killed Safin's entire family just to get the island. But nobody has ever heard of Safin or the Poison Guard Island, not even Spectre, or the fact that once again British intelligence creates an international clusterfuck when they attack the island, which is like undesigned piece of land that Russia and China fight over for.
Yeah,
and when MI6 shows up, both Russia and China send MiGs and God knows what to check out what the hell is the situation. M decides not to tell anything to two countries, and then at the end decides to blow the entire island up, which would be an act of war.
Yeah, and I couldn't understand really what the fuck is the difference if the blast doors are open or not open. If you fire the missiles, well, that's obviously a really bad thing if the MiGs are flying around, and it's a miracle that Q even survives this trip.
Yeah, and but all of these I was completely willing to forgive the film. Like I was like, yeah, if you really want to nitpick, or if you even want to look the situation logistically, it makes no goddamn sense. But fine. You know, every film has problems in the plot department. I'm not gonna take an axe with these.
Mm.
But then there is like the Bond dying, which made no goddamn sense. Then there is the entire Spectre plot, which was completely lackluster, which also was something that the film insists that you pay close attention to. It goddamn holds your eyes as a hostage and forces you to watch the Spectre plot line, and how that makes no goddamn sense.
Mm-hmm. And what about
these are like faults in logic that I just can't forgive.
What about the complete Mallory brain jackass who has been developing this whole nanobot scheme? And I couldn't ever imagine that this could happen.
Yeah, that too. Especially since the previous film, the franchise Spectre, has Mallory going on in two different monologues about how technology should not surpass the 00 agents, and how the people with license to kill, this is something he says outright, license to kill is not just a license to kill, but a license not to kill, or something of some sort. And now all of a sudden he's going on with rampant technology, because apparently 00 program is not enough, and the guys with license to kill are not enough, and you have to have like a technological advantage, which was exactly what was C's argument for the Nine Eyes.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck happened in 5 years, Mallory?
And this whole MI6 having some secret lab somewhere, I guess that's possible.
Well, kinda no. It's not, because Heracles was not developed in secret MI6 lab, if I'm correct. It was never established what institution or what faculty it was where the Heracles was. But the bad guys break into like a giant ass science building. It's some type of a skyscraper which they attack. It's not like a basement lab of Q hidden beneath MI6 headquarters.
And one thing that I'm still gonna... The man with the golden gun, Solage Agitator Unit. He tries to go and get the Solage Agitator Unit so that the energy security of the entire world would be... Or the energy future of the world would be saved, or some shit like that. And it just feels super pasted in and completely unnecessary. And there was some share of moments like that in No Time to Die.
Yeah, there were. And in The Man with the Golden Gun, I guess, like that whole plot with the energy unit, is there just so that the entire film wouldn't revolve around the concept of Scaramanga wanting to kill Bond just to prove to himself that he can do it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's something which I think is a hindrance of Bond franchise. That like not every single goddamn time. Like Casino Royale is an exception here, but usually the Bond films feel that their bad guys have to have like I'm gonna destroy the entire world plot or some type of mega plot, which is also the case with No Time to Die.
Yeah.
Like Safin just can't be content with trying to kill off Spectre members. No, it also has to be I'm a god.
Yeah.
And Spectre plotline alone would have been enough. It was the more important plotline or more interesting plotline, at least in my opinion. And you could have just played off with that. Like you could have been in a situation where Safin wants to kill off all the members of Spectre, but and that would have been like Bond would be like, yeah, I hate Spectre also, especially since the film wants to have like this line of thought that Safin and Bond are the same, like they are two sides of the same coin. Like Safin says out, we are not so different, except Safin wants to kill the entire humanity and Bond does not. But with Spectre like that duality would have been stronger because both of them hate Spectre. And then you could have had like Bond agrees with Safin, yeah, let's kill off Spectre, but Safin also targets like women and children, like the wives and children of the Spectre lieutenants, like he does, but the film never actually does anything with that. And Bond could have been like, well, killing women and children, that's just too much. I'm not taking part in child murder, and I must stop you. Or that Safin would have somehow he would have used like he would have, for example, used poisons and made a vaporized poison that spreads through air, and he would have been willing to in order to kill a Spectre lieutenant, he would have been willing to like, for example, use the poison gas in a concert hall, which would have mean that innocent civilians would have died in that kill, and Bond would have been like, yeah, I hate Spectre too, but you can't kill innocent civilians, so I have to stop you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or that the MI6 would have had, like they had with Blofeld, they have a Spectre ace in their hand, or somebody who they think is an ace in their hand, and because of that, MI6 would have demanded that some Spectre lieutenants are not to be killed because they are working as assets. And now Bond, who hates Spectre, would have to protect some Spectre members from Safin because Mallory told him so. Like there's at least three possibilities that you could have had the plot built around without it going into, just using Safin hates Spectre and not go into the whole, oh, I'm gonna kill the black people or the entire humanity.
Yeah, I guess this is kind of the Moonraker point. Gotta get the legs firmly on the ground and stop these gallivanting world domination plots next. I would be happy with that.
Yeah, I would too. Like Casino Royale didn't have that. It was just one asshole who was funding terrorists, and Bond had to stop them because funding terrorism is kind of bad thing. And it's like one of the best Daniel Craig Bonds.
By the way, now revisiting Casino Royale, I really paid attention to this time, to the fact that does it really make any fucking sense, because they keep playing that casino tournament, poker tournament, and what happens immediately after Bond wins the game. It's like, okay, Felix, he's all yours. Just take him to the cuffs and take him away. What? At what point did this turn into, oh, we know for sure now that you're trying to use the winnings to terrorism? The fuck?
Well, they did know that already in the beginning. Like that's why MI6 has to send Bond to win him at poker table.
But does he really? Or just, take him to the cuffs before the game even begins?
Yeah. That is a good question. Why they didn't do that? since they are convinced. Like the thing is, Bond doesn't discover any evidence that they could use against Le Chiffre in the poker game. So it can't be a question of that. And MI6 already knows that Le Chiffre is taking part in the tournament in order to, win back the money he needs to finance terrorism. As that is the whole reason why they have to send a 00 agent to play in that goddamn tournament. So honestly, there is no reason why they couldn't have just, arrest Le Chiffre, like, before the tournament begins or during the tournament.
Yeah, except to have a dick-teasing cockfight at the poker table.
Yeah, precisely, because the main fight between Bond and Le Chiffre is had around the poker table. So because of that, they just choose that they won't touch Le Chiffre before Bond wins the game. Yeah, and it was good to have you back also, Tom.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
You don't have to lie anymore, right? We stopped recording.
Cockfight ja Soulage Agitator Unit juoni, missä, ehkä tästä on helpompi puhua englanniksi.